Hi, this is John Linneball from John Linneball Tutoring, and this is Breaking Math Part 2, Fractions and Percentages. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Problem 1, the Candyman Can. Walt and Jesse agree to make special baby blue hard candy for Gus. As luck would have it, the blue candy is very popular and thus very valuable. Supply and demand, don't you know? Gus agrees to pay Walt and Jesse $1 million per 200-pound batch of candy. Gus also provides the raw materials, lab equipment, secure premises, etc., at an estimated cost of $20,000 per batch. Unfortunately, some of the 200 pounds of candy from each batch is lost to testing, highway mishaps, and other unfortunate incidents along the distribution chain. Being an experienced candy seller and restaurateur, Gus estimates the loss or inventory shrinkage, as they call it in the retail industry, etc., to be 5 pounds per batch. Like any good business person, Gus wants to make all his costs back plus a profit. Gus would like his profit to be $1 million per batch.
The Candyman Can.
What price should Gus charge per ounce for the baby blue candy in order to make the profit that he wants? Note, there are 16 ounces in a pound. Just like on a real SAT problem, etc., they will give you the conversion factors that you need for measurement units. And by the way, make sure you use theirs, even if you have a different one. Use theirs because you want all the rounding and everything to work out accurately, and it works out better if you use their conversion factor rather than one you might have memorized. $1 million. So we know Walt and Jesse's labor costs $1 million per batch. And then $20,000 in materials and lab expenses, etc. Sorry I didn't put the dollar sign there, but you'll just have to forgive me. Gus's total cost per batch is $1,020,000. Gus wants $1 million in profit, so he must sell the candy for $2,020,000. Since Gus believes he will lose 5 pounds of candy per batch, he has to sell 195 pounds for $2,020,000. And since they want the price per ounce, that's 195 pounds times 16 ounces per pound, and we'll work it out right here. So that's going to be, we'll just go 16 ounces times 195. That is 3,120 ounces. To get the price per ounce, per means divide. In a math problem, we have to divide $2,020,000 by 3,120 ounces. If you're using a calculator, the easy way to take this 3,120 is just hit the 1 over x, boom, you flipped it, and then you multiply by 2,020,000. So $2,020,000. And voila, you get $647.43. Notice the next digit after the 3 is a 5, so we know to round up, so it becomes $647.44 rounded to the nearest penny. And you can check this with your own calculator if you don't believe what you just saw me do with the Windows calculator. Probably would make more sense to round it up to $650 per ounce, because then you don't have to make anywhere near as much change, etc. But that's not important for our purposes. On the SAT, you would probably just grid in 647.44. Unless they asked you to round it to the nearest dollar, then it would be $647. To the nearest $10, then it would be $650. Let's move on.
Truckin up the buffalo, been thinking you got to mellow slow.
Problem 2, Westward expansion. Gus wants to sell his baby blue in Phoenix, Arizona. You can see it's about 419 miles from Los Pollos Hermanos, which is, of course, Gus Fring's headquarters, to Phoenix, Arizona, which is, of course, Phoenix, Arizona. And it would take 6 hours, 43 minutes, according to Google Maps, to get from Los Pollos Hermanos to Phoenix. And yes, you really can look up Los Pollos Hermanos and Walter White's home and things like that in Albuquerque on Google Maps, and they will actually show you the location of the site where they filmed it. Los Pollos Hermanos is actually a branch of a local chain called Twisters in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And yes, I've been there, and they have little displays and stuff. It's very cool. All right. Problem 2, Westward expansion, continued. Gus wants to sell his baby blue in Phoenix, Arizona. The combined state, county, and city tax in Phoenix is 8.6%. Rounded to the nearest cent, how much should Gus charge per ounce to make the same profit mentioned in problem 1 above? since 100% of something is the whole thing, to add a percentage to it, you just multiply by 100 plus the percentage percent. We go 647.44 times 108.6. And then we divide by 100 because remember it's a percentage. So it's 703.119, so it's going to be $703.12 rounded to the nearest cent. Another way to do it, which is probably easier, is you just go 647.44 plus 8.6%. On your calculator, it'll tell you the 8.6%. Here it's 55.679. So you're just going to round it up to 5568. But anyway, then you just hit equals, it adds it, so 703.119, that becomes 703.12. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Another thing actually we can do before we move on is you can also go 647.44 times, and then you can just go 1.086. If you're good with percentages, you can say, okay, I know 8% is 0.08 and 8.6% would be 1.086. So then you get 703.11 and you can round that up to 703.12 again. All right, let's move on to the next thing here.
Truckin up the buffalo, been thinking you got to mellow slow.
Problem 3, trucking off to Albuquerque. ABQ is the 3-digit code for Albuquerque Airport. Number 3, Gus is experiencing, in quotes, inventory shrinkage for his blue candy because of competitors' interference with his restaurant trucks. Gus lost 10% of his candy batch, that is testing and other shrinkage already being included, so we're not going to deal with the testing and other 5 pounds per batch that we dealt with in the other problem. We're just going to say he lost 10% of his candy batch total because of these new shrinkage problems. So how much will Gus have to raise prices to get the same money he would have if none of his batch went missing? Now, no numbers are mentioned other than the 10%, so we can choose any numbers we want to make it easy. We don't need to use the profit from the previous problems. Let's say it's $100 for a full batch. If we reduce the batch by 10%, we reduce the profit by 10%, so the profit is $90 if the price remains the same. Don't believe me? Fine. We just go 100 minus 10%, 100 minus 10 is 90. All right. So we know we need $10 more to get the $100. So the percent change formula is new minus old over old times 100%. So here it would just be, we'll just make this negative. So it's going to be 10 minus 90, so we just add 100. If you don't like that, you can just go 100 minus 90. Get the same thing, it's 10 over 90. So that's 0.111111, it's 1/9. And then we multiply that times 100%, and we get 11.11. And the alternate method is we can just go 90 times x equals 100. So therefore x has to be equal to 100 over 90. 1.1111111111, and so then we subtract out the 1. Oops, made a mistake there. Okay, so it's just going to be 100 over 90 minus 1. Okay, times 100%. So again, 11.11111. And when we round it to the nearest hundredth of a percent, anyone, it's still going to be 11.11 because this is 1, so you round down. And so you're just multiplying by the reciprocal to get 1. That's all you're doing here. So in fact, you can make the profit be 1 and get the same result because it would just be wrong here. So it would just be 1 over 0.9. So that's 1.11111111. Subtract the 1. Multiply by 100, and you get 11.11111%. All right, moving on to the next problem. Problem 4, it's a fractious world. After an unfortunate accident, Gus is no longer available to sell Walt and Jesse's candy for them, so they have to sell it themselves. They agree to let several independent candy sellers sell their candy in exchange for the sellers being paid 10% of the gross sales to customers. Walt and Jesse also hire Saul, an attorney and financial consultant, to help them invest their profits wisely in other ventures and minimize tax liability. Saul is paid 10% of what's left after the sellers are paid. In addition, Walt and Jesse hire Mike to ensure candy doesn't go missing via shrinkage and to facilitate collection of accounts receivable. That is, if someone owes them money, Mike makes sure they get paid. Mike gets paid a third of the net sales after the sellers and Saul are paid. If the gross sales per batch are $2 million, how much do Walt and Jesse make per batch after everyone else is paid? That is, what are their net earnings? So let's break this down. The gross receipts are $2 million. That's a given. Dealers are paid 10% of the gross sales to customers. That's a given. So what we do here is, again, we can just go 2 million minus 10%, because that's the dealer's share of it. So we get $1,800,000. Saul is paid 10% of what's left after the dealers are paid. So okay, again, minus 10%. So Saul's 10% is $180,000. So that becomes $1,620,000. So then, Mike is paid 1/3 of the net sales after the sellers and Saul are paid. So we can do that. We can go minus 33.33333333%. So then Walt and Jesse get 2/3, which is 1,080,000, 0.000054. So realistically, you're just going to round that to $1,080,000. So the other way to do it is just go $1,620,000 times 2 over 3, so that's multiplying by 2/3, is $1,080,000. Did you find this video useful? Please like it and subscribe to this channel. Neither action costs you anything. You'll be alerted about my new videos. Why do I care? It's simple. YouTube doesn't let me share any ad revenue unless I have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of view time in a year. While many people are watching these, I don't have 4,000 hours of watch time. I also don't have anywhere near 1,000 subscribers. You have a copyright issue? Please contact me. I'm a reasonable person. For the same reasons, you're not only welcome, but encouraged to share links in this video, put it in playlists, etc. I could use more subscribers, I could use more watch time, and hey, I could use your help. I'm always happy to read and respond to constructive criticism or suggestions for new videos.
I'd appreciate your input.
I reserve the right to delete comments from and block those who specialize in destructive criticism, basically trolls, or things that are off topic, spammers, disturbed people, etc. You want to contact me? You can call me, 415-623-4251. It's my cell phone. You can even text me. Email john@johnlinaball.com. Mail 1859 Powell Street, number 109, San Francisco, California, 94133. Thanks for watching. Contact me, Facebook, Instagram, email, phone. Facebook, it's facebook.com/Linaball Tutoring. Instagram, instagram.com/john.linaball.tutoring. My other phone number is 415-986-7355. You can email me at john@johnlinaball.com, and my website is www.johnlinaball.com. You can also find me at testpreparation.locals.com.